So, end of day 2 on my trip here in Tohoku with Doug Gerber and the Japan-America Society. And today, I'm just going to go ahead and record some of my impressions of today because a lot happened. And I didn't, personally I didn't expect that I'd be going into a previous evacuation zone. Even we went right up to a closed gate where the roads were blocked off because beyond that point the radiation levels were too high for entry. And actually the area we entered, I was under the impression that it was safe to inhabit the area, but that's still a work in progress. What's safe is only to enter the zone in the daytime, but you're not allowed to sleep there because the radiation readings are still too high for that. So it's just more so for families to be able to go back to their homes, to their shops, and retrieve their stuff or other things. But I found it really interesting that when we were driving through the cities, all the shops they looked fairly intact. They looked like they should be open, but nothing was open in that town. We drove down city streets that were just complete ghost towns. Everything was closed, everything was shuttered. And one of the most interesting things, or two of the most interesting things I saw there was, for one, we went to right up to the board. We went to the road that was closed off, and right to the side, there were 100 or so cattle that they're highly irradiated, so they cannot be milked, they cannot be eaten, and they were set for slaughter. But international groups or outcries from the international community, such as PETA, for example, they said, "No, Japan, you cannot do that. That's inhumane. That's horrible." So, with their hands tied behind their back, they just put these cows in this open field, and actually with the grass that they cut down or in the contaminated areas, they just feed the cows that, and the cows they're just going to live there until they die, which is interesting. Because if they escape, they're highly irradiated, so they are a hazard. But it's another political issue in the region that I was really interested to see. What was also really interesting is in one of the towns we went to a train station there, a JR, Japan Rail station. And in Japan, in Tokyo, and everywhere in Japan actually, everywhere is so well upkept. There's not a single speck of dirt or dust or trash on the ground in any buildings, especially in train stations. But in that JR station, you saw it was covered in dirt. There were cobwebs. There were papers on the floor, and in the cabinet in the displays there were brochures that were completely bleached because of sun exposure. And if you lifted one sheet out, you could see a perfectly vivid copy of the same brochure, including one that was the debut of in 2011 the new Hayabusa bullet train debuted, and so there were posters inside the building, there were flyers. It's a brand new 2011, and just about a week after 3/11, or a week after the tsunami and earthquake, that entire area was completely evacuated. It turned into a ghost town. So here we are at a JR rail station, or a former JR rail station. It's when the disaster hit, the train lines were stopped, and this area was evacuated. And if you have any sense of how fast the people evacuated, you have bicycles left here at the station that have been abandoned here for over 3 years. Some, you can even still see the locks on them. And everything around this community here has just fallen into complete disrepair. You can see the ground. The town around here, it's safe to enter during the day, but it's not safe to stay here overnight. So it's very desolate here. You see the ocean level down here and the hill we're on top of? Now we're actually pretty high up, but the water level actually reached up to the top of to the mid part of those trees, right there. Hence the reason why we were wondering how that metal barrel got slammed into the home. If I were here on March 11th, there was no way I would have believed that the water could rise this high. So I'm here today right outside the border of Namiya-shi. And we're currently in the green zone, which is an area that was previously evacuated due to the nuclear disaster, but has since undergone intensive decontamination efforts. Now residents are finally allowed to move back into here or start rebuilding. But if you look just beyond here, the road's blocked because beyond this road, the contamination reaches a very dangerous point. And I've been told that even I should not step past the road here or onto the grass because there is contamination there. That being said though, I've been told that coming here for one day is not going to be a problem at all. But if I come here every day or grab some of that dirt and eat it, you know, maybe I might have some problems, but I don't intend to do that, so just be here observing. Very interesting. And I'm here with an architectural group that's making a new design for buildings here in Tohoku. It's called the core concept, where they build a house for really cheap and then they could take down walls of the house and add certain sections on. That's the group over here. And the lead designer, she's actually world famous, has won international awards, so quite an honor. Another interesting thing is the cows beyond these signs here are heavily contaminated. They cannot be eaten, they cannot be milked. They were set for slaughter, but activist groups saved them. And now all that can be done is just to keep them here and to keep them alive. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it says Ushi Chui, so beware caution of the cows. And there's signs discussing how these cows are contaminated, how the ground is contaminated.
You should run over really quickly.
So maybe
Yeah.
Okay.
5 meter or 7 meter.
So in this zone over here, they've taken out all the bushes that were here. They've also cut all the leaves off of the vines on the lower levels. And this decreases the level of radiation in this area. Because like I said in the earlier video, the radiation comes in the form of microscopic particles that blanketed this region. And so what these workers are doing right now, I'm not going to go in because they're wearing protective gear, I'm not, but they're removing all of this brush here. And by removing this and putting this in a storage facility somewhere, they're going to decrease the overall radiation readings of this area right here. Because this area beyond, the fence is right there that blocks entry, but everywhere up until here was previously an evacuation area, but the evacuation order has been lifted and now it's being prepared for repopulation. Workers like these are going through every single square inch of this area and removing all sorts of topsoil, vegetation, leaves and such, all to decrease the overall radiation levels here and make it safe for habitation. Now I gotta get back in the car.